What you're seeing here, Nick, is an umbrellino.
Umbrellino.
Which means a little umbrella, literally. It's an Italian word for an umbrella. And that's the second symbol of a basilica. And the interesting thing is that it was John Paul II who was the one who designated this church, this cathedral, as a basilica. And so it has a special connection to John Paul II. Now, John Paul II was never inside this church, but he was outside.
He was outside the church.
He was coming back. He was coming back from New York, from Manhattan, and they were coming down the street here, and people knew he would be coming down J Street, and so they gathered outside, and among the people there was a group of Polish children dressed in Polish costumes, Polish folkloristic costumes. And so he saw them. He wanted the motorcade to stop, and so it did, because originally it was not going to stop, and it was also pouring rain. But the motorcade stopped, and he came out of the car. Needless to say, some of the security people were a little upset, but the Pope is the Pope.
So that was the papal visit.
That was the papal visit. So
no time to prepare.
No, it's commemorated out there, but it was a spontaneous occasion. But anyway, but it's wonderful that. In a sense, he reinforced his link to this church. That was in 1979. And then you'll notice next to it there is a portrait of St. Paul. Actually, that's a hand-painted copy of an El Greco painting from around 1600. And this is the year of St. Paul. And so this painting is ordinarily kept in the rectory, which is behind the church here. But we brought it out here for this year.
For the year of St. Paul?
Yeah, especially because this church has been designated by the bishop as a pilgrimage site for the year of St. Paul. And a little bit further here is the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. And this is where the Blessed Sacrament is reserved. And so, for example, if a parishioner is sick, we would take the Blessed Sacrament to that parishioner from this tabernacle here. You'll notice on the top, the
dome?
Yes, that's a reproduction of the front of the cathedral.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of emphasizes that the church itself is the dwelling place of God, that this is where we encounter God through our worship and our prayer. And you'll notice also that on the walls and above us,
the Star of David.
Star of David, yes,
exactly.
And that shows our roots in the Jewish tradition. Christianity came out of Judaism, and Jesus, of course, himself was called the Star of David because he was descended from the house of David. So it's a wonderful symbol of the connectedness between Christianity and Judaism.
Well, I also noticed there's a piece left over of the altar rail.
And that's from the original altar rail that extended the entire length of the sanctuary here.
Is that used for prayer?
Yeah, people come here before Mass, for example, come here and kneel and pray. So it's a connection to the church before it was renovated after Vatican II.
And then on the wall here we have the station.
Right. Those are this is the first station. Of 14 stations, and each station depicts a phase in the Passion of Christ, and then his crucifixion and burial. And you'll notice the very lovely pastels that give life to the stations.
Beautiful.
But they extend 7 on this side of the church and then 7 on the other side.
There were some glass vases or jars over here with the oils in them. I'd like to take a look at that.
That's extremely important. Extremely important.
That'd be great.
Well, Nick, these are the holy oils that are blessed by the bishop on Holy Thursday morning. That's when we celebrate the priesthood of Jesus Christ and the priesthood of all those ordained as priests and bishops. And these are the oils that we would use in the sacraments of baptism, confirmation, that the bishop would use in the ordination of priests.
How are they each different?
So what we have the oil of catechumens, which is used for those who are going to be baptized. We have the oil of the sick, which is used for the anointing of the sick. And then Holy Chrism, which is a scented oil, and that's used for confirmation, ordination of priests and bishops. And since this is the Cathedral Church, the mother church of the diocese, the bishop blesses these oils that are then distributed to every parish. Usually what happens on Holy Thursday morning, all the priests come here.
Will come here.
Yes, and many people do also.
And then what's the process, or is there a ceremony in which they're
right after the homily? After the homily, then these 3 oils are blessed. There are separate prayers for each of the oils, and then much song, and then the oils are taken by the parishes. They're already prepared in bottles. I think,
and then they're distributed to all of the priests.
Yes, and then if during the year they run out of any of these oils, they come here and they get replenished.
Where does the oil come from?
It's basically olive oil. Yeah, it's a high quality olive oil, and then there's a perfumed essence that's added to the chrism. The essence, the perfumed essence, is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. That you know, that it's, you might say it's the perfume of holiness, you know, that should be spread, you know, to a fragrance that should be spread to many people. This was done in ancient times. The blessing of oils. Oh yeah, that's a, and it's true. It's found not only in the Roman Catholic Church, but also in the Orthodox churches. It's a tradition that is long-standing.
So from the inception of this church, has this been going on
since
the very beginning?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
What was the parish like then? I'm curious how the parish has evolved since the establishment of the church.
In 1822, basically this was a neighborhood of immigrants, primarily Irish immigrants. And it was the Irish immigrants who in 1822 wrote to the Bishop of New York over in Manhattan and asked that a priest be sent here. And so the first Mass was celebrated here in 1822. At that time, of course, there were no bridges. There were ferries, so the priest had to come by ferry and celebrate Mass here.
Was the neighborhood as populated as it is today, would you say?
Oh no, I think it's much more populated now.
Yeah.
You know, but of course we have a lot of businesses here, back office operations. We have schools, high schools, colleges, universities. They estimate about 35,000 students in this neighborhood. And then we also have housing. But we have housing for every, you might say, for low income, middle income, and high income. And so our parish is composed of all these different levels of income. And also, it's a microcosm of the city in terms of race, of nationality, of language. It's quite a combination.
So it's grown considerably.
It has grown in the last several years because there are people moving into this neighborhood, and so it has grown. You know, we've got young families now, and so we have people who have considerable experience as professionals, others who are working class. So it's quite a mixture of people.
Do you get a lot of support from the neighborhood, from the areas surrounding?
Yeah,
is it a community?
If we have special events, for example, like a concert. They're willing to advertise and help support the programs. You mentioned there was a lot of events that take place here. Yeah, obviously liturgical events, but also concerts, lectures. So it's a center for the community, for a wide variety of, and for the entire diocese as well. This is the statue of St. James. He is the patron of the cathedral. As you know, he's also the patron of Spain. And the tradition is he's one of the 12 apostles, and that he made his way to Spain to proclaim the gospel there, and died there, was buried there in Compostela, what is today Compostela. And Compostela is a destination for pilgrimages. You'll notice the scallop shell. What is the symbolism of that? It's connected with St. James, and people today who complete the pilgrimage get a replica of that shell. Yeah, that shell. Yeah. You know, St. James is a favorite saint among Haitians, also a patron for many Haitians, and so they come here to offer flowers and prayer intentions. And then on July 25th, the feast of St. James, the church is filled with Haitians who come for the Mass because they are so devoted to St. James. So he's very important for them.
Well, I tell you what, while we're at the front of the church, I was hoping you could take me upstairs to look at the organ, if that's okay.
Oh, it's a wonderful organ. Right.
Great.
This is one of the newest additions to the cathedral. 1981. This pipe organ was installed by a firm from New Jersey called Conzelman, and he continues to watch over it to make sure that it performs well.
It's massive.
It's wonderful.
It really
it fills the church.
Oh, I'm sure. The acoustics must be great.
They're wonderful. And on special occasions, again, when we have concerts, sometimes our music director just simply does an organ concert, and it just resonates throughout the whole church, and it's a wonderful, wonderful instrument. So we're very, very proud of it, and
it's beautiful.
And so it adds considerably to our liturgical experience. So it's cool.
I noticed behind you, if I may comment on the camera.
Oh yes.
Can you tell me what that is about?
Yes. Well, we every day at 12:10, the Mass here is broadcast to people's homes, and it's shown again at 5:30. At 12:10 it's live. At 5:30 then it's just on the tape. But it's a great service to people in Brooklyn, Queens, but it's also shown in Manhattan and on Staten Island. I was in a CVS store not long ago, and a woman came up to me and she said, "Do I know you from television?" I said, "Maybe," and she said, "I love your program. I love your program." I don't think she was quite sure, but anyway, it is this. I know I have been stopped by people many times.
That is great.
You know, I've seen you, doing the Mass. Now, of course, other priests do it as well, not just myself.
Right.
So give everybody a break.
There you go.
But it's a great service, especially to the homebound, and we get lots of notes of appreciation, and people do want to watch the Mass. So it's a great service.
Well, Monsignor, I can't thank you enough. This has been educational, entertaining.
Well, Nick,
I really appreciate it.
Good. It's good to have you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
St. James Cathedral, what a great start. And that's just the start. The next stop on my day-long pilgrimage is St. Boniface. It's just a few minutes from here. I can't wait to discover its rich and spiritual history. So catch up with me next time as my journey through the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens continues. See you at St. Boniface. I think it's this way.